I struggle with I'm exhausted, I really don't want to, but now I've made myself this person, so I have
You've
to.
committed, right?
So,
You've signed up, right? You volunteered, right? For this lifelong assignment that you were going to always be the fixer.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing all right, living the dream one day at a time. Nightmares are also dreams, but here we are.
Man, how was your week, man?
It's been stressful. It's been a little stressful, but I look forward to these times because we can cut loose a little bit and kind of decompress.
Yeah, this is good for me, man. It helps. It helps, man, with the mental capacity to be able to find the opportunity to kind of kind of break the norm up a little bit.
It really does, man. It really does. What are we getting into today?
Hey, man. So, I mean, when we talk about finding an outlet for that mental capacity, we're gonna talk a little bit about peace, man. Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yeah,
that is. Yeah. I need a peace of mind right now, man. I don't even really know what that means. What does that saying mean? Peace of mind.
I guess we're going to define it.
We're gonna define it, man. We're gonna define it. And it's one of those things where I was sitting. I was just, man. At the beginning of the week, I was really stressed out, and I was like, man, I need a break. And I think a lot of people, especially with everything that's been going on, I'm tired of saying, with COVID and everything. But right. I mean, it's very real, and the effects are lasting. But we've all been through a lot lately. Things are resurging back up again. Yeah. And there's a lot of stress going on, man. Everybody's worked to the bone. Some people haven't been out the house in forever. Some people have been on the front lines since day one. And I think everybody just needs to,
yeah, just take a breath, man. I mean, I had a conversation with a friend, man, who had been on the front lines in New York.
That's crazy.
At the at the height of it, and the stories, man, are just wild and crazy. And at that point, New York was huge, right? It was a hotbed for it. Yeah. And I mean, now you look at the world, man, and I was reading today, there's Lambda out now. So we're just hitting every Greek alphabet out there.
Everything we can do.
So Delta's already wreaking havoc, and then now we hear about Lambda, which may be have an intolerance to all of the vaccines. So you have all of these conspiracies, and you have all of this other kind of stuff. You will literally, your mind can literally be in 1,000 different places, consumed by all of these different things that are going on, man. So I think we have to be intentional.
For sure.
Intentional about finding something that gives us peace in our mind.
Yes. Right? And that's the thing though too. And what's kind of funny, and we had talked about on previous podcasts, people use being busy as an excuse. Yeah. But the funny thing about it is, like, people are even using being busy as an excuse to why they can't take time for themselves. And I find myself doing it too, and it doesn't take much. I mean, even, I try, I'm terrible at this, right? I'm terrible, but meditation, right? And they say it does wonders for you, and this, that, and the other. So I find myself, usually in the mornings when I first get up or before I go to bed, like, I try to set aside just 10 minutes, where I just focus on my breathing, just try to calm down, decompress from the day. And shit, man, I can't even make it 3 minutes into that before I'm thinking about what I got to do. Yeah. And that's becoming it's kind of concerning for me, to where, like, that's where you start to question what is your life for? You know, what are you living for? Because all I'm doing is thinking about my next thing. I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And I'm not really taking time to step back and just that right there, just.
So I think you made one good choice, right? You realized that you were intentional, at least in part.
Trying to be,
right? Which means there's a realization that it's necessary, right?
Right.
A lot of people don't even realize it's necessary. And we go throughout the day, and we're taking care of everything that we assume we need to take care of. Whether it's the kids, whether it's our spouse, whether it's the job, I got to make this amount of money to make sure that's taken care of and this is taken care of. And, I'm worried about the whole world. And then, I'm falling apart on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the truth though. And I know you said some things there, and a lot of people are worried about this, that, and the other. And for me, I feel like that does plague me a little bit, because each one of those things, although individual, it's like a constant. I have to reset and stay up, or stay positive, or stay full of energy, right? Because you go to work and you work your ass off doing whatever your job. Well, some people don't do shit, but you work your ass off doing whatever, whether it's physical or mental, and you get drained and you need a break, but you can't, because as soon as you come home, you have to be on again, whether it's for family or, for business or for friends or for whatever the situation, your pet, whatever the situation is, right? And then that leads to something else. So, you come home and you do that, and then now you have to be on, because now you have to get ready for the next day or whatever. There's never a shutdown. And even when you call yourself going to bed, it's still, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this, that, and the other, right? When, like I said, everybody deserves a little bit of peace. And I don't think that many of us, I would argue, I feel like 90% of us really don't take the time that we need to decompress and figure things out, whatever it is, whether it's just dealing with the day, whether it's dealing with a problem or a bad situation or a life decision. Everything is always just kind of rushed. There's always a deadline.
Yeah. Right.
And I think a lot of people struggle. I struggle with being able to deal with that. How do we deal with everything that's going on, and it's weird, because when you think about time, people always say, time is the thing you can't get back, right? Yeah. Once it's gone, and it's a very valuable and precious asset. But also, there's 24 hours in a day.
Right.
And say if you're lucky enough to sleep for 8 of those, I don't know who does, right? But if you're lucky enough to sleep for 8 of those 24 hours, right? That's still 16 hours.
16 left.
16 hours is a long time. But everybody always says, shit, I wish there's more hours in the day.
Wish I had more. Yeah. So, okay, you just said that. And I was thinking, while you were talking, I was like, man, we have 24 hours, right? And you started your conversation off, and I'm using your words, but I'm thinking to myself, like, Aaron, you can't find 10 minutes in the next 16 hours. You mean to tell me you can't find 10 minutes where you can decompress? Yeah. That don't make sense. Which means it doesn't make sense is because we don't want it to make sense. Right. We have decided that there's not enough time for me to take for myself. Yes. And I think it's part of is wanting to be. It's almost a need to be needed. I've been that person, and I'm working through some of those things where you feel like you have your success is being needed. Right. And if I'm needed, then I'm worthwhile. Right? If somebody can call me, even though I'm tired, if somebody can call me and I can answer their question, or I can counsel them through this thing, or now I've been successful. But what energy do I have left at the end of the day? Zero. And so I've poured it out. I've poured out everything I have, but I don't have anything that's being poured back into me. I hadn't taken a second to work on my own mental capacity so that then when I crack up and I go off on somebody, they were like, oh, I didn't, it's this.
I didn't know.
I didn't know. I'm sorry. Yeah. And that was partly my fault, is because I never chose to find an outlet for myself that allowed me the time where peace could actually have some perfection in my life.
Yes. I mean, that's what I struggle with even now, and that's the thing is right? Like everybody wants to be needed. You're important if you're needed. You're important if you can fix problems. You're important if you can handle, you want to be the person that everybody can come to. Oh yeah, I have this issue. I know where I can go get it resolved. But it takes a real physical toll on you.
Yeah.
It really truly does,
Right.
And where do you get that recharge from? And then you struggle, for me at least, then I struggle with I'm exhausted. I really don't want to, but now I've made myself this person, so I have
You've
to.
committed, right?
So,
You've signed up, right? You volunteered, right? For this lifelong assignment that you were going to always be the fixer.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to be the fixer. Don't worry. Superman to the rescue.
I got it. Yes, my cape. Here we go.
Dude, I remember 2 years ago, I had found a Superman shirt, and I went to put it on one day, and I got pissed off. I got mad. I was like, "You're not Superman." I threw the shirt away.
Right.
I threw it in the trash. I said, because I'm perpetuating this idea that I am going to be everything to everybody and show up out of nowhere when they need me. Right.
Yes.
Meanwhile, kryptonite is destroying me over here.
And nobody's doing anything.
Anything about it.
Not at all, man. And that's the thing. It drives a lot of people crazy, And I know exactly how you feel. And then you get to the point where it becomes so much that then you just shut down.
Yeah.
And then you push it out.
Right.
And now it's a whole nother set of problems because, it's hard, man.
It just steamrolls into a lot more issues, and then now we're having these struggles here, right? We're having these struggles of not being, because we don't have an outlet at this point, and so now all of this stuff is stacked up, and and we're talking about mental health, and now we're looking, we lash out because we don't have an outlet that gives us the ability to be able to breathe a little bit, and one of the things, I've been working on this book for a minute, right? The gift of giving leaves you empty. And the reason it's taken so long, I think, for this book to materialize is because my life has changed in so many seasons that the initial intent of it was one of my woes.
Right.
I felt like, oh, woe is me because I've given everything I have and I don't have anything back. Right. But over the time, even the narrative has begun to change, is because some of that is my responsibility. If I don't have it to give, or if I value it much more, then I'm not just giving it out to anybody who's not going to reciprocate it, or is not. It's what's the word? Not necessarily even reciprocated, but it's not appreciated.
Right.
Right. And because some of that just refuels you when you see that it was actually something that someone, cherished.
Right. And you hit the nail on the head though there, and I think when you said, some of it is your responsibility, right? I think that's the thing that a lot of us fail to do, and I've failed at it for a long time, is realizing our own responsibility in us feeling the way that we do. I think a lot of times a lot of people push it off on something else, or it's someone else's problem, or someone else caused me to feel this way or whatever. But a lot of it, and a lot of the situations that we're in, is it's our own fault.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't necessarily say fault, but it's by our own doing, by our own hand.
Yeah. Right.
Where we are. And a lot of people are afraid to admit that. A lot of people are afraid to be like, oh shit, I fucked up. And I made this situation.
It's a hard thing to admit you're wrong.
Oh God, it's terrible.
Especially, if we're dealing with pride and all of that other stuff, it's one thing to say, it's an interesting thing. I think it's a level of maturity
right.
that you have to be at to come to the table first with a, hey, you know what?
And say, this is
what I said or what I did was not right, and I apologize.
Right. Yeah, it's people would rather cut their own eyelids off there. But that's what it is it takes a lot to do that. But that does affect, and at the same time, people need to understand that they have control over their life, and I would always tell people, especially back in the day, and really maybe it didn't mean as much as it does now, but you really can do anything you want. You just have to be ready to accept the consequences of your actions.
Yeah, right.
You don't have to be doing what you're doing or be miserable where you're at or be exhausted where you're at. I mean, you can change it and make those steps. And I know that it is harder because everybody's at different levels in life and have things that others don't. But there's always that time you can do something for yourself.
Yeah.
And finding a way to bring that out, finding a way to make that a reality, that's kind of what you have to do. But that's just with anything, not just with finding peace, right? People always say, I want a new job, or I want to start working out, or I want to start doing whatever. And I think that a lot of times we quantify things in order to justify not doing them, and what I mean by that is, like, when people say, I want to start working out, but I don't have the time. And I say, well, how much time do you think it takes? Well, I need at least 2 hours or at least an hour. You don't need an hour to work out. You can get an effective workout in 20 minutes, but in their mind, if it's a whole hour of my day, I don't have an hour to set aside. I don't have an hour.
And the fact that you don't have an hour to set aside out of those 16 that are left
is a problem.
It's a problem, right? Okay, all right, 8 we've slept. Let's even take 8 we've worked. Okay, that still leaves another 8.
A whole 8.
Another 8, right?
A whole 8 hours.
A whole 8.
And even if you, and that's the thing is, and I think that's sometimes what you got to do for people. And like you said, so you have a whole 8 hours. And let's hypothetically create a dream situation in that 8 hours. Okay, well, you got a whole 8 hours that you slept, 8 hours that you worked. Now you have a remaining 8. You could work out for an hour. That takes you down to 7. Let's say you would give a whole nother hour just to shower and change again. That takes you down to 6. You can go out to dinner with your family for an hour and a half. So it takes us down to 4.5. You can go watch a movie with your whole family, and that's another 2 hours. So you still got 2.5 hours left.
Right.
You can go get dessert for 30 minutes. Now you still got 2 hours. You still got 2 hours to do whatever you want to do. And you got family time, dinner in, slept.
You can watch your favorite show.
Yep, watch your favorite show. Exercise. You can do it all.
You can do it all. And then still take 10 minutes to meditate.
And still take 10 minutes
before you go to sleep.
Before you go to bed. And you still have an hour and 50 minutes to whatever. You can get some sex in, masturbate, whatever it is. I mean, for some people that's 3 minutes. For some people that might be the remaining hour 50. I don't know. But the point is you can
all he's saying is that there's time to do whatever you need to do. Let's stop making excuses for not taking some time for yourself.
Yes. There's no,
you never know what's going to happen on the show.
On DM Convo, you're right. But there's these deep, meaningful conversations.
That's what they're for.
You have,
wow.
But that's the thing. And when you really think about that, and even now that I'm saying that, I'm kind of mad at myself because I'm like, what the hell am I?
I'm sitting here listening to you, and like he's, because of course we talk before we talk, right? We sit down and we hang out with friends. So we've had a ton of conversations long before we even had this conversation. And we talk a lot about, where's the time? What are we doing? Yeah. I need to do this, that, and the third, and I don't know when. There's not enough time in the day to do it. But you just sir, so eloquently just broke down a full day schedule. You know, from start to finish. Okay, so we clearly have no excuse
at all. You know, and that's what I kind of want people to get in the mindset of. Even for me, just for me, you know, with everything that we even have coming, like I need to get together and say, you know, I can do this. I can, you know, prepare for this and have time. And
you know what, bro, a lot of it really is in what we say out of this thing. You know, because I don't know, you know, when we talk about psychology and all of those kinds of things, right? I don't even know if I took a body language class, right, as part of my training when I was in corporate America. Right. And they talked about body language. And depending on the words that you say, your body responds to it either positively or negatively. And if you say, I can't, your body actually responds in a shrinking motion, right? Without you paying attention to it. This is what happens, right? And if you say I can, then even the inflection in your voice, your eyebrows raise, you know, there's almost sometimes a difference in how your cheekbones move, right? And it's so crazy how your body responds to either a negative or a positive thought or saying.
Yeah, you know, the speak it into existence is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And I think is people don't believe it or buy into it. And I think that's sometimes, I guess, is how it's presented. Yeah. You know, people don't always present, or they present it like it's this weird, kooky, you know, whatever. And it doesn't necessarily come from real people. It's from people that are trying to sell you something, or put you on their improvement plan or whatever it is. But I mean, you know, speaking things into existence is really a real thing, you know, and a lot of stuff really changes the body, you know, being able to say positive things about yourself. You know, you don't have to sit there and give yourself a whole, you know, speech.
You don't have to go through your 45 minutes of affirmations every day.
Not at all.
But you know what? If that's what you need, then go for it. But I'm saying you don't have to spend out of your schedule. You don't have to take those minutes.
My remaining hour 50.
and go through, because then that's gonna be something you're not gonna be consistent with, right?
Right.
Let's talk about consistency. Let's talk about things that we're actually going to do and commit to. And then when we commit to them, now we can expand them once we see the value in them. Then it won't be hard to expand that 10 minutes into 20 minutes, that 20 minutes into 30 minutes. And now I have a solid time, which now I've taken for myself out of this day, and I found value in it, so nobody can take it from me.
Right. And
I protect it.
That's the thing though, that consistency is the key. That's the word that you said, and that's important. And that's why, I think a lot of people struggle with a lot of things, you know, whatever it is, if it's finding that peace of mind for yourself, if it's finding time for your hobby, if it's finding whatever, like they're not taking chunks of time or taking tasks on in a sustainable way where they can be consistent and do it and even build the confidence to say that they can do it or they can have it. You know, they're trying to bite off a whole chunk. You know, if it's working out, they want to start all gung-ho, full thing, whatever, and then you're sore tomorrow and you don't want to do anything. You know, if it's dieting plan, I'm not going to eat anything, I'm just going to just starve myself, you know, whatever. If it's taking time for themselves,
it's the extremes.
Yeah, it's always the extremes of everything, you know, and we're not just taking that 10 minutes for ourselves. Just 10 minutes. Yeah. You know, if that means that you go to the bathroom in the morning and you just sitting there for an extra 10 minutes so you're not bothered, whatever it is, you know. I mean, you hear stories about a lot of people saying they close and lock the door, right? Yeah.
Just so that they can have
a little bit of time. Yeah. And that's what you have to do. And it's funny because I used to lock myself in the bathroom all the time when I was younger. My mom would get so mad, but like that was like when you have people in the house and everything's going on, like I would just like,
that was your escape.
But you know, because most people don't bother you when you're in the bathroom, right? So
they let you be.
Go in the bathroom, lock the door, pull up the little clothes hamper, do my homework on the, whatever. Right. But that's where I would go to get that.
Well, you made yourself a sanctuary, somewhere where you could find in the midst of whatever the chaos that was going on, or the hustle and bustle of the day. You found a place where you could find peace.
Exactly, because everybody deserves that. And I guess on the backside of peace, because this thought just popped in my mind, and I think a lot of times we're talking about finding it for ourselves and finding ways to take time for ourselves, but peace in general, when it comes to other things, when it comes to jobs, relationships, whatever, even if someone's in a bad situation and they feel stuck, being able to accept where they are and move on, or being able to let things go and move on, that's also a way of finding peace, right? A lot of people are in rough spots, whatever it is, if it's financially, physically, relationship wise, emotionally, whatever it is. And sometimes you just need to learn to walk away, right? There's peace in that.
It takes courage for those things, right? Because sometimes it's who you are. Like, you've built yourself, you've seen these things happen over and over and over, and it's become part of who you are, part of your nature. It's generational, some of this stuff, right? And sometimes we stick and stay in situations because that's what we assume we have to do, but we don't have any peace in them, right? And so it takes something for us to have to make a choice to choose something that's familiar, but not good, over something that's completely unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Right. I understand this, even though it's toxic, I understand it. But this over here, even though they're saying this is the better place, the grass is greener, and all of these other kind of things, I'm not completely sure I understand how to operate in that. And because I don't understand how to operate in that, I'd rather stay in this chaos.
Yeah, and I think that's huge, and I think a lot of people right now, and the reason why I even I try to make that transition is because I see it, I feel it personally for myself in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of people do, whatever the situation is. I see people in terrible relationships, and I mean, not necessarily terrible, I want to say terrible, some of them, some of them, you're getting punched in the eye, whatever, that's a terrible relationship, terrible. Right?
Yeah.
Unless you're a family that boxes, but
it's still terrible.
but you see people in terrible relationships, or you see people in jobs that are making them miserable, or you see people that are just not happy where they are in life because they don't feel that they're really doing what they're meant to do, whatever the situation is. And it's familiarity, like, oh well, I've been with this person for this long, or well, I've been at this job for this long, I don't want to start over, or well, I mean, I really am more passionate about this, but I don't know if that's going to pay my bills, but this is paying my bills right now. And so we settle into that comfort, right? That's what it is. We're settling into that comfort and not really
but it's false
out. It is false. It's terrible. And people don't, I don't know how do you advise somebody to step out, right? I mean, it's always easier said than done. It's always easier to be like, man, just quit that job. Yeah. Something will come up. Right. Just leave that person. You can do better. Just chase your dreams. If you're happy, right? Say if you're happy, you never work a day in your life. You know what I'm saying? To convince somebody to step out of their comfort zone for whatever the situation that they're in is, and go on, because what they try to do, they try to justify, right? And then it becomes making a list of, well, that sucks, but this is a positive thing, and that sucks, but if it was really that good, you wouldn't think about leaving anyway.
I mean, I think there's some things in our lives, bro, that push us out of our comfort zones. And even if the job was okay, say the job was okay, but it only pulled on one facet of who you are, eventually you're going to get fed up with that job because you're going unfulfilled in so many other areas of your life if this one only focuses on your hand model, right? Just pull some crap out of that.
Yeah.
You're a hand model and all you see is your hand. But there's so much other stuff, right? There's so many other things that you are and that you can accomplish and that life has for you to do. And if you don't do them, then the world misses out on those things, right? Because you were created specifically to do them.
Exactly.
And if the world misses out on them, then we've fallen short as a people because we don't get it. We don't get the use of it. We don't get the ability to enjoy it, right? And so at some point, I believe all of our lives begin to chip at us. Life begins to chip at us in a way where if we're not doing what we're supposed to do, it's gonna knock at the door and say, hey, okay, you played enough, let's go. And you're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna be in a place of worry. You're gonna be in a place where all of those emotions and all of those things come to a head, and we have to identify the root of it. And it may just be that it's time to move on.
Right. And that's the thing is that, but finding that and digging through that, I guess, is the difficult part. And it is weird because there's always counterproductive statements that go, along with whatever the situation is. They tell you, oh, well, if you're not fulfilled or, whatever, to go on and find out where you're supposed to be. But then on the backside of that, it's like, well, yeah, if it's difficult, you just stick with it and you work through it, so like it's always which way do you go, and I think that confuses a lot of people in that instance of finding what is it that they themselves should be doing or where they are happy. And I think that a lot of people confuse the comfort for happiness, or they settle for the comfort, but really the true happiness and the true peace, it rests on that other side of being uncomfortable. And that's what I think that people are scared of.
Muscles don't grow without being torn, right? Without having to be stretched and be challenged.
Exactly.
Right? There's no growth without a challenge. And so our life, if we're avoiding the challenge, then there's really not a whole lot of growth there.
There's not, but then I guess that kind of goes to what we kind of talked about before we started is, does everyone deserve peace? Right? Does everyone deserve growth? And that's the thing is, I don't know, for me, I don't feel that I'm personally living up to everything that I should be doing. And, I'm trying to work towards that. And, I have varying levels of success in getting to that goal, but not everybody has that drive.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is it not everybody has that drive because they don't know how to get there, or they're just not built for that. There always has to be, when they say, right, there always has to be a boss and there always has to be a worker. You can't have all what is it? Was it too many chiefs and not enough Indians? Whatever it is.
I got you.
Can you even say that? That's racist. But right, like you can't have everybody be the boss. And so, is that because that's the mentality that we created? Or?
I think the thing is, the caveat to that is that there's a lot of bosses have decided that they only want to be a worker. I think that's the problem.
Right.
Because yes, some people everybody's not built to be at the head of the line. They don't have the leadership ability. They are great at doing what they do. And maybe that's where they found their peace. Right. But for that person who knows that there's so much more, for that person who's decided that this is where I'm going to park, where I'm going to drop anchor, but I'm supposed to be deep sea, but I'm here on the bank. That's the person that is finding themselves just completely, mind is gone, right? Not being able to find peace. It's because I know that there's so much more, but I'm not able to accomplish it. I'm not able to achieve it. I'm not able to walk in it And then that's when we find ourselves burdened, right? Fearful and all of those kind of things, because I know that there's more, but I don't know what that next step is.
Right.
I know that I see his leadership style and I know that I can do better than that, but I don't know, I'm scared to get out there and do it, right? And so you just critique the heck out of them all day, right? And you hate them at the end of the day and they didn't do anything to you, but walk into their leadership spot. But because they're there and you know you have it in you, but not willing to take it, sometimes we create those situations that we make them bigger than what they are because we're not willing to walk into it on our own. Yeah. Did that make sense?
It makes sense, man. Right. It makes sense. And I guess, we're laying all these things out is because, I interact with a lot of people and I see a lot of people that just aren't happy.
Yeah.
And
what is happy? Hold on. Because we said that earlier. Is happy is the pursuit of happiness, right?
Terrible movie. I hate Will Smith.
I love the movie. The movie, it's not even about Will. Come on, man.
I'm not a Will Smith fan.
I love the movie, by the way. Is the pursuit of happiness causing us more problems?
I would say that it's a false pursuit is what's causing the most problems, because like we've talked about before in other episodes and just even offline, a lot of what we think or what a lot of people think is happiness has been sold to us as what happiness is.
Okay.
And so a lot of us are chasing after that, thinking that that's what happiness is, and it's not. And I've told you the story I think before, but whatever. But like when I was living in Hawaii and we had the homeless man that would come into McDonald's, because I worked at McDonald's in the drive-thru, because that's all I did
in Hawaii
at the McDonald's drive-thru. But there was a gentleman that would come in, tall guy, very skinny, probably was in great shape when he was younger. At this time, he probably had to been early 60s, just dirty, he's homeless. And he would always come in every morning and he would get a small black coffee and a sausage biscuit. Sausage biscuits are dry as hell, so I don't know, just a combination of the two, whatever. But every day he would come in and get that. And the irony of that is that not only would he come in and get the sausage, whatever, and the black coffee, the sausage biscuit and the black coffee, it was, I forget how much it was at the time, but there was always change. And he would say, leave the change for someone that needs it.
Okay.
Right? So, here's a homeless man that's like pay it forward.
Yeah.
When most MFs out there won't even, give me my money back. You shorted me 5 cents, right? But the thing about it is, the more he would come in, I eventually talked to the man. And what it was he was in the services, way back when, and he had gotten out. He didn't have anything. He didn't have family. He didn't have whatever. He was a little messed up, whatever. He ended up coming to Hawaii, got himself a tent, lived on the beach, has a P.O. box, would get his, his check. What is it called when you get the check from the armed services?
Disability or
something? It's not just like, you get your retirement pension, whatever it is.
Okay.
Would go there. So he would just go into town, get his money, put it in the bank, so he had whatever, take out a little bit of cash, and he would live on the beach. And he was as happy as ever, the happiest guy I probably ever met.
Right.
And here's this person that, and granted the fact, I guess when you take money out of the equation, which you talked about, is a large influence, but he didn't have a big house.
Yeah.
He didn't have a fancy car.
Yeah.
He walked or took the bus.
Yeah.
He didn't have a infinity pool or a soak tub or, whatever these things that everybody thinks that they need to have. No designer clothes. He wore the same surf shorts and whatever. He took a bath in the ocean with some biodegradable soap that he had. and he would just share stories with people and hang out. Now, granted, the fact his skin looked like an old leather handbag because he was always outside.
Yeah, right.
But happy as ever.
He was content in that. He had made a life, and he was happy with that.
Happy, man. He made me jealous. He made me honestly jealous, man. Because like, here's this person that is so happy.
That society tells you should be
miserable,
and
he wasn't on drugs. He didn't do nothing. He would come in. He was one of the best customers in McDonald's. Wouldn't bother nobody. Sat there, ate his food, read his paper, went back to the beach.
Yeah, I got you. Right.
You know, but then you have assholes that come in there and tear the place up and argue that the food's cold. You know, I don't know. It's just, so I think that sometimes we don't realize what it is that really makes us happy. We're all chasing that false happiness, whatever we're told that is. You know, we're not happy because we were told by this age we need to have these many kids or be out of college.
And we wrote that out, right? We have those game plans and those dreams, and you know, I'm gonna graduate here and I'm gonna get this kind of job and I'm gonna move to here and I'm gonna do this, that, and the
do
third.
it big.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it big and have the penthouse and all this other stuff. But that's what somebody wanted for you, or someone said you should have, not necessarily what you want. You know?
Yeah.
What is it you want to do?
And so that goes back to us taking that time for us, right? Because hopefully in those moments that the 10 minutes to 20 minutes to 30 minutes that we begin to take for ourselves, hopefully we'll begin to identify somewhere in that amount of time, what is it that's going to make, I'm not even looking for happiness, but what is it going to make my life's journey okay, right? Where will I be in this life's journey? What can I do? What should I do? Where should I be? You know, and identify those things for yourself based on who you are at this particular moment in life.
Right.
Because the journey, what you wanted at 16, if you've kept that dream and you hadn't modified it, what that 16-year-old thought is probably different now. Or even the pursuit of it should be different at 35, 40, 45, 50.
Yeah, completely different.
And if we've held on to that idea, then I can see why we would be upset or unfulfilled. It's because, you know, situations change and we have to modify. We have to switch with those situations.
We do, and a lot of people don't. And I think a lot of people do hold on to one dream. I think it gets to a point, especially maybe, you know, once you finally get your first real job where you're making decent money, like you kind of just fixate on this one goal and you block out everything around you that's happening, and you miss opportunities or whatever it is, because you're just so focused on, okay, I got this, now I'm gonna buy this and this and this, and you're trying to check these boxes of whatever it is, you know, whatever it is where you're at in that point in time, and not focusing on you or what's best for you if you're by yourself, what's best for you and your family if you're with your family, or even just having those conversations. You know, I see a lot of people, even in relationships, there's no, you're together but you're not equal in the goals.
Yeah, right.
You know, I've been guilty of that, and a lot of people have, right? But you don't really sit down and say, where are you at in life? Yeah. Where am I? Right. Where am I at in life? You know, and it's funny because I was listening to this one. I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, it was Illmind Hobson, number 8. Hobson, great rapper. Everybody go check him out. Illmind Hobson 8. But at the end of it, he has like an excerpt from a speaker that was on there. And they were just going through about change, you know, change in life, and you know, that basically breaking down, like, you know, everything has to change, and if you're not willing to change, you're not willing to accept the growth, and that change is more than just one thing. Like it also involves people. You know, not everyone, you know, in your life is supposed to be there forever. You know, not every situation you're in is supposed to be forever. You know, you have to move around. You have to let some situations go. You have to let some people go. You have to constantly evolve if you're going to continue to grow and be that person that you feel you're going to be, right? And I think a lot of people are afraid of that. They're afraid to break away from their friends. They're afraid to leave a bad relationship or a bad job or whatever it is. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, let's say surround yourself with people that are doing better than you, so that you can learn and
you can aspire,
to grow, right?
Yeah.
If your people that are around you or your situation around you isn't challenging you,
right,
isn't helping you develop, then you're probably in a bad situation.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people really stop to think about that because, right, there's not enough hours in the day to really do that. You know, they all want to complain or get together with their friends and talk about how shitty life is or this sucks, that sucks, whatever. But they're not doing anything about it, right? Like you said, you know, you complain about the boss, but you're not, you know, you're not. Right. But that's, you know,
there's you're complaining about the boss, but they have this this manager's training program that's right here. That they said you can get into. It's free.
Do it. Right.
But you say I don't have the time to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be at this job, so I'm not gonna do that manager training program. It's all BS anyway. And you create these reasons and scenarios about why you can't advance. Right.
Exactly.
Even though you feel like you have all of the answers, over here you'd rather be mad at the boss than to set yourself up to be put in a place where now you're the responsible one. Right.
right. You know, and that's really. I guess that's what it boils down to, you know, and I guess really that's my ask of everybody is just try to find 10 minutes of your day to reevaluate. I know that was in our last episode, I think it was, we were talking about people take a mental tally of the wasted dollars in their house.
Yeah, right.
I'm not trying to change everybody's, you know, I'm not trying to change everybody's life or tell them that you're being stupid or you're being wasteful, but, you know, for me, myself, that's my challenge, especially going forward, is to just try to find 10 real minutes every day where I can sit down.
10 real minutes. Intentional minutes.
Intentional thought out minutes. Not 10 minutes where, you know, before bed and you end up falling asleep, right? Nodding off after 3. Or
you cooking, right?
Yeah, you cooking.
You cooking and okay, you know, you're thinking about this, but you're
not really focusing. Yeah, you're distracted. 10 real, uninterrupted, intentional minutes a day. Just 10.
Yeah.
To sit, think about where you are, think about what you want, and think about what makes you happy. And you're not going to have the answers in that 10 minutes, but it starts the process.
Yeah. It starts a conversation. And, you know, we start conversations every day, right? We sit right here at this table and we start a conversation. And then out of that conversation, we end up at the end of it with so much more than we had at the beginning, right?
Exactly.
And we've only taken 60 minutes, less than that most times. And we've hopefully come to some type of conclusion. What if we took that same 60 minutes for ourselves and came up with some conclusions about our life that then we now utilize for the next day? Take another 60 minutes and add on to what you just did the day before.
And that in itself would be a powerful thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
A powerful tool, you know, and it's unfortunate that people don't utilize that on a regular basis. I mean, I don't utilize it on a regular basis, so I can't be like, you guys are wrong. Because you're not utilizing it right. Because I mean, I don't even do it for myself, and I think a lot of us don't. And I'm actually kind of excited for this episode to get out and hear people's response and see, you know, how they respond. What are they doing to try to make that difference? Because, you know, I don't see it. You know, I don't see it. And I could be wrong, but even like my people that I interact with on a regular basis, or if I text, you know, whoever, my friends or whatever the situation is, you know, everybody's always doing something, you know, or they're posting on social media and you can see they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, you know, but they're not doing anything for them. They're doing
even the posts on social media, man, have become a version of ourselves that we just want to share with the world. that makes us look, you know,
like we're handling tall business,
right?
And
we're really short,
and we're really
short.
We're really short. Yeah, I mean, but that's the truth, though, you know. But that also affects, right? Social media is such a powerful tool, and it does affect the peace, of a lot of us, because, you know, it's like this forced. It's a forced perspective, but it also forces people to be like, "Oh crap! Okay, well they're doing this, where I need to match that." You know, now and they're just worried about that, you know, not worried about whatever. But if you break down what those posts are, you know, you break down. I mean, a lot of it is they're trying to sell you stuff, right? But ultimately, at the end of the day, a lot of those posts are people trying to show their happiness and their peace.
Yeah.
You know,
right?
Even though they're not,
right?
You know, but that's the ultimate goal and outcome. So, if that's the ultimate goal and outcome for people, why are we not taking the time to really make that happen?
Right.
That's what I would challenge people to do. Really make that time to make it happen, because happiness will shine through. Yeah. When someone's genuinely happy,
you can
someone's genuinely living life.
You can tell.
You know, and it doesn't matter what the backdrop is. It doesn't matter what.
It doesn't matter what the situation is, man.
Exactly.
If happy is there through adverse situations, right? If it's true and it's honest, and I don't know that that's happiness. I believe that's joy.
Right.
I believe it's something big. I believe it's something greater than happiness. And that's why happiness, I believe, is fleeting, right? Happiness is not probably the one I want to hang my hat on. But where can I find joy that even though whatever, it doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter the circumstance, I can still say, you know what? I'm good. And this situation is going to be okay. Right. You know? And I think that comes with an investment in joy as opposed to momentary happiness.
That's it. That's the one right there. So everybody go ahead and find your joy.
Joy.
Just leave it right there, man. I think that's a good spot to stop.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage and I'm